Before we jump right into this episode, I want to take a minute to thank our sponsors of the podcast, Switch Nutrition. Now, more specifically, I want to talk about foundational health. There are so many different supplements out there online and different gurus telling you this and that, but I love to strip it right back to the foundations and what are the things that we can be taking every single day to help with our foundational health. And these products right in front of me are the ones that I take every single day to make sure that I am well equipped to attack the day's activities and make myself feel good throughout the day. It starts in the morning with these two products here, the Hydrate, making sure I am hydrated, and the creatine, all put into a liter of water. Throughout the day, I then go and have this collagen protein within my Greek yogurt bowls that I make, and you guys would see all over my socials. And then to finish off the night, I have the Adrenal, more specifically the chocolate flavor, which is a sleep formula filled with ashwagandha, zinc, and magnesium. And I have a scoop of this 30 minutes before bed in hot water, kind of like a hot chocolate with a little dash of milk, and it tastes amazing and I sleep like a baby. If you want to try out any of these supplements, you can actually go to the link in the show notes or the description below, and it is my collections page on their website, which has all of the supplements that I take and love, and you can use code Chris Griffin and you'll get 20% off your order. Alternatively, you can go to www.switchnutrition.com.au and use the code Chris Griffin at checkout to get yourself 20% off all of these foundational health products that I absolutely love and take every single day. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Tim, before the show, I got you to write down a quote for me, mate. Something that you love, something that came to mind straight away, and you told me a couple. The one we're going with is, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
Henry Ford.
Henry Ford. I love that one, mate. Talk to me about that quote and what it means to you.
No, it's just like whatever you believe and the story that you tell yourself, it's the truth. So if like you're constantly telling yourself that, oh, I'm not going to be able to do that. And that was the story I used to tell myself. About the time I started Front Runner was like a time when I stopped telling myself that these like crazy stories about who I was. I used to like tell myself, I've said this before, but I used to tell myself that like I'm erratic and that's the reason I do these like crazy things, and that's why I am the way I am. And I would always like make excuses for not being able to do shit, and I would tell myself that, oh yeah, I'm just like I didn't finish school and that's why I can't do this. And when I gave those stories up and just like stopped being that guy, I was like, no, I don't have to be that guy. And I started telling myself a different story.
It's funny, it's the labeling thing. It's like, I am this, I am this, I'm this. It's a really interesting thing. Stephen Bartlett talks about a lot, about like when you label yourself as something, you're kind of boxing yourself in and limiting yourself.
Very dangerous.
Oh, very dangerous. Like even just
but
saying.
Also very powerful if you do it the other way.
Yeah. But like whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. It's like the stories that you tell yourself is your reality.
100%.
It's so funny. It's even like when you get like a hate comment or someone talking shit,
yeah,
you kind of got to like look at them and go, fuck, like that's what they're thinking. That's their reality. Like that's kind of what it is. It's so fascinating though. Was there a moment in your life where you realized that you were just talking yourself out of things, telling the wrong stories? Like when you're saying you started Front Runner, that's when it all drops. Like what made you want to drop all of that?
Well, it's a little bit different because I've always believed in the power of my thoughts, and I learnt that from like a very young age, probably like in grade 10 anyway. My grade 10 maths teacher, I've spoke about this before, but I'll just say it again.
Mate, it's been a while since you've been on a pod.
So my grade 10 maths teacher, he like made us watch The Secret. You know The Secret? He made us watch it in maths class.
Just instead of doing math? Instead
of doing maths, he's like, oh, I'm going to show you guys, you can't tell any of the other teachers and shit that I showed you this because they'll probably think I'm crazy, but I'm going to make, like, we're going to watch it. And then he told us like about different things, how like manifesting had worked for him, and like how he'd even gotten this job at this school from manifesting, and told us all these different things how manifesting had worked in his life. And I just fucking believed him, man. I watched that show and I was just like, that's us. I'm going to start doing it. So I had my first vision board in grade 10, like in my boarding house, in my boarding school, and all the boys would laugh at me, but I just like sticky tape stuff to this like board, and I'd be like, I want to make this footy team, and I want to do this and do that, and it just started working. And then through my whole life up until like even when I was starting front run, I'd have this whiteboard in my room, and it was if anything went on it, it always came true. Like I never put anything on this board that didn't come true, but I would never lie to myself. If I wasn't ready to put it on the board, it wouldn't go on the board. So I took it so seriously. If I was like in a state of my life where shit was just all over the place, and that was like a lot of the time, the board would be empty, because I just knew I'm not putting it on that board because I'm not really in that frame of mind to really go for it. But anything I put on there.
I'm so intrigued by that though, because for you to have a board, you've got to be kind of inspired and driven to put that on there. But then as you were explaining when we went for a run before this podcast, you were explaining that you were just a hooligan that ran amuck. And even just then when you were just saying that if I didn't feel like I was deserving of that or whatever, I wouldn't put it on there.
No, I wouldn't put it on there. But I was really bad at like, it's like I lived these two separate lives. I was fucking I was mad about self-sabotage too. So like what I would do all the time, I would put these things on this board, and I would go so hard at getting exactly what I wanted. Jobs, money, anything I wanted in my life, I could get it, because I knew if I put it on the board, it would just come true. Not that like I would click my fingers, but I would do all the things that I need to. And then once I got it, the whole board was ticked off, I would just fucking destroy my life. I would just sabotage everything until I had no money. I did it so many times too, and this is like around the time when I started front runner is when I started. This is where it comes into where I started saying, no, I don't have to be that person, because I couldn't understand why I just like loved self-sabotaging so much. So I just was in this like crazy cycle where I would get everything I wanted, my life would be good, my missus would be happy and everything, and I'd be like, I've got to destroy it. And
why?
I don't know.
Do you not, still to this day, you don't know why?
You know what? I just fucking loved I loved feeling like I was rock bottom.
Why?
Because I love the climb back up.
It's like quite a sick thing to think about.
It's actually not well.
You know,
because what I would do, I'd get into these like states where I was so depressed, and like I would like cry, and then I would be like, all right, fucking oath, like this is the time. It doesn't get any lower than now, and then I would start building myself back up, and I would just love the comeback.
So you feel like
I could never get past like I just could never get past like just ticking all my goals and then going back down.
Right. So it just kept being in this cycle. So for you, it was like the actual goal wasn't the thing. It was do you reckon it's trying to prove something that you can fucking get from down here to up here? I was literally listening to a podcast of Andrew Tate last night, and he was saying like, if I got given two options that I could, if I got told that I could live a comfortable life for the next 12 months, have no problems, have, just have nothing to worry about at all, or go to jail for the next 12 months. He's like, I'd pick the jail because then I got a better story to tell. Yeah. And I was like, are you fucking sick?
Yeah. He's not well, that bloke. I love him, but.
Yeah, for sure. Same, I agree. But just the most world-class communicator. He's a beast at articulating his message and having conviction in his voice, and he believes everything he says.
Yeah.
I think that's what, just on a little tangent about that, is what I love about him is you can tell he means what he says.
Yeah.
He actually is passionate about the things he's saying. He's not just fucking fluffing around.
Yeah.
And he's got an opinion and he believes it and he sticks to it.
Yeah.
And that kind of is something that I do look up to. I do really like that. But talk to me about the self-sabotage though. I want to know.
It's been a while since I actually really thought about it. Like, because I'm so far out of it now. It's like I broke the cycle, and it was when I stopped telling myself that like that's just how I am.
Right. So you would say, you would kind of have these internal dialogues that I am this person that goes through shit, ticks things off the to-do list, and then
I can do both, but I was just always like, it was like a competition with myself. I was just like,
you would self-sabotage,
I can never like, I would always get back. Like I can never lose.
when you would self-sabotage, what would you do?
Lots of drugs, and just like destroy my relationships. I would make sure I have zero minus in my bank account, and then try and make the money back real as much as like. And I'd be fucked. I'd do everything to punish my life until I was just like, this is fucked. Can't do this anymore.
Right.
And then I would go back.
But would that feeling when you're in that rock bottom low, depressed, like, surely that's a feeling you don't even wish your enemies could go through, because that's quite a fucked feeling, is it not?
It's terrible.
So when you're in those moments, why, like, are you thinking...
I just used to like it.
You liked it in those moments?
I used to like it. I used to be like, this is... I actually used to love feeling like that. It's weird, eh?
I'm intrigued by that.
Yeah.
And so, but now you're at the other side where you don't want to go back to something like that.
Nah, no way.
No way.
No way.
See, that's crazy. It's like quite...
But no, you know what it was? I think it was like, because I thought I was nearly going to be there my whole life. Like I would never thought...
You're just like, labeling my life shit.
Not my life shit, but I was just preparing myself. I feel like I was preparing myself that if shit ever really went fucked, I can always get out of it.
So,
like if I lost everything tomorrow, I wouldn't be scared. It would be fucked, but I knew I know I could get out of it.
You've been there.
Yeah,
I'm the same in that. It's
I know I could get through anything.
Yeah, 100%. I was speaking to someone else the other week, and they've got a business, they do like 1.5 mil a month, selling like products online, and he's like, there'd be this level of peace in me if I lost everything tomorrow. He's like, there'd be a level of peace that I was like, that's so interesting. It's such an interesting outlook. I want to talk about something that I looked up your name on Google. Oh, yeah. And anyway, one of the first things that came up was from the Daily Mail, and it says, before growing his hair and getting tattoos, the Bachelorette's Timm Hanly is known for his unruly long hair, tattoos, and penchant for eyeliner. Before finding his signature style, the 27-year-old was just another awkward teenager growing up in Port Douglas, Queensland. And that was in October 2019.
Fuck, I don't know if I've even seen that article. I've seen a few of them, but not that one.
There's a bit to unpack here. We've got...
that sounded wrong.
Is that wrong?
No, can you read that again?
Yeah, I can read it again. Before growing his hair and getting tattoos, the Bachelorette's Timm Hanly is known for his unruly long hair, tattoos, and penchant for eyeliner. Before finding his signature style, the 27-year-old was just another awkward teenager growing up in Port Douglas, Queensland. October 2019.
Wow.
What are your thoughts on that?
You don't know me. You don't know me.
Being on reality TV and going through all of that, you would obviously have so many different people pulling out articles and writing different shit and painting yourself a certain way.
Bro,
How do you feel about that?
I got away with murder. That's all that came out. That like more shit didn't come out. I was a devious cunt before I went on those TV shows. I used to get up to some real naughty shit. And like when I got announced that I was going on The Bachelor, I was like going through the comments. I was like, who's gonna out me here? Like people are gonna see who I am. And then like some people would be like, oh, that's that cook cunt from Revolver.
What's Revolver?
Like this nightclub in Melbourne. And like,
oh, Revs.
Yeah, Rev from Revs. And like, remember this guy, and like just like heaps of shit like that. But I'm lucky that's all that came out, really.
Wait, so talk to me about that. Did you spend some time living in Melbourne?
I spent 10 years in Melbourne.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So when did you move to Melbourne?
When I was 19.
19.
Yeah.
19 to 29 in Melbs.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And is that when you run amok?
There's lots of running amok.
Yeah, right. And so did you build up a bit of a name for yourself?
No, it wasn't really. I think I was just like any other normal person that was just running amok, just in their 20s.
Yeah.
I wasn't a bad kid or anything, like a bad person. I was just playing up.
Playing up.
You know how it is.
100%. Do you think there's a level of like, because I want to go back to childhood before you moved there, before you were in Revs every weekend and you were in Port Douglas. So you grew up in Port Douglas.
Grew up in Port Douglas, yeah.
Yeah. And so how were you in school? You mentioned just before you did boarding school.
Yeah, I went to 4 high schools in 5 years. So
Why
I
is that?
moved around. I just moved around lots.
How were you in school?
When I look back on my school journey, I actually could not tell you when I passed I couldn't tell you when I passed one subject in all of school. I'm not lying. Not a single subject. I was in like, I'd move like school to school. I was in like fucking, when I was in my maths class in grade 12, there was only 3 other kids in my maths class and they were like disabled.
Wait, so you just went to you were in like the dumb classes?
I was in like these yeah.
Were you a smart kid and didn't try, or you just don't think you're a smart kid?
No.
Or not a smart kid in that system?
Not in that system.
In the wrong system. You were a goldfish trying to climb a tree.
I knew I was always smart. I was always a thinker, but I just was no good at school.
Do you think there was a reason? Do you reckon that was like a thing you just didn't want to do because of a certain reason?
I've been diagnosed with, I've never said anything like this because I don't want to be that guy that, every cunt just talks about ADHD and just like says ADHD. So I never bring it up, but I am diagnosed with ADHD now as an adult. But obviously that had something to do with it as a kid.
I feel like so many super successful people have ADHD though.
Yeah, so that's why I never like to harp on about it.
No, but I think there's positives and negatives to everything that you have and everything that happens in your life. As you're saying, is like when you go through these lows, you get excited because the highs are going to be more high as well. Yeah. It's like going through that shit makes a better story. We spoke about Tate just before.
Yeah.
But I think having something like ADHD, like I interviewed Simon Beard, the founder of Culture Kings, a couple months ago now.
Yeah.
On the pod, and he's got ADHD.
Yeah.
And like he's used it as a superpower.
It is in terms of that. Like when I locked in on Front Runner, it's just like
locked in.
I didn't realize I could learn because of my experience with school and even just studying out of school. I just like never knew that I could like comprehend so much information. And when I started locking in on Front Runner, I was just like, wow. How am I just absorbing this? Yeah. It was just fucking like a sponge because I obviously never found anything that I just love doing.
It's so interesting how the schooling system, I think what it does teach you is it teaches you how to learn. But the thing is as we said just before, is if you're a goldfish trying to climb a tree, like the monkeys are going to perform way better than you.
Yeah.
But they still make you try and climb a tree in school, right? And and I think with that, it can make you, again, labeling back to the whole start of the conversation, is like, okay, I'm bad at, I'm not intellectual because I did bad at school.
Yeah, it made me feel like I was dumb. But I always deep down, I would sort of, what I would do is I would pretend I was dumb. But deep down knew I was never dumb.
Yeah, right.
Do you know what I mean? Because I didn't pass school and I don't know.
You just feel like you had something in you, but you were like, this school thing, you're like, fuck this thing. Yeah. And you said you went to boarding school?
Yeah, I went to boarding school for a couple of years, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Parents sent you there? Or?
Nah, I chose to go there. All my mates were there. It was only an hour away. It was only in Cairns, so it was only an hour away from Port Douglas. So I'd go home on the weekends. But that was probably the best I ever was at school because you had to study and then there was help there for you.
Yeah, okay. And I want to fast forward a little bit because we'll dive into Front Runner and we'll speak about the business you're working on now and your baby, your family, all the rest of it. But you mentioned on the run, your partner, Bree.
Yeah.
You mentioned obviously you guys were together for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Broke up, went on The Bachelor, got back together off the back of the show. talk to me about that time. Obviously, you spent so much time with Bree, and then you break up.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that moment. You break up. What happens?
We broke up. We'd break up all the time and then get back together a couple of weeks later. It was always like that was like right in my party era.
Yeah.
And I was like probably not the best boyfriend, but
So you kept breaking up because
of like partying
and
and it's just like, but we never had any dramas whenever there was no like drugs or alcohol or come downs or partying involved. So like we were pretty much perfect. Other than that, that was the only time that we would struggle. And I don't know, I think I just wasn't really willing to give it up, and so the relationship crumbled. But there was never anything wrong, and we were still madly in love with each other. And we always had like that, we both had that feeling like that we sort of had to break up, but we didn't really want to break up because it wasn't working, but it wasn't terrible. Like we did not love each other, but it just wasn't working because, but I did it hard, eh?
So
even if,
You mentioned you broke up, but you didn't want to break up. You still loved each other.
yeah.
She broke up with you,
Yeah.
and you're thinking, "Fuck, what have I done?"
Yeah.
How was your thoughts in that moment?
It was probably like the hardest time in my life. Yeah.
Just why?
I don't know. I just feel like a breakup is like, I've had people die and stuff like that, but when we've been together for like 7 years and we'd broken up, I was rattled. Even if you ask any of my friends, I was just like, I was never sweet. I was always, and that.
Did your self-sabotage kick in then?
Yeah, that's when I went even crazier on it. And I would go through these like fucking like spirals of highs and lows, and then like do these fitness challenges, like have a boxing fight, go sober for like 12 weeks or 13 weeks, and then just absolutely destroy my life. And then, I don't know, it was fucking wild.
All or nothing, I'm sensing a little bit here.
Very, very much, yeah.
Do you think that's a double-ended sword? It's a blessing and a curse?
Yeah, it is a blessing and a curse for sure. Yep.
Yeah. It's one of those things that gets you so far because you go all in on things.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter what the all in thing is.
What it is, yeah. I've got a grip on it now, which is mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Took a long time.
And so you said that was the hardest part of your life.
I think it was, yeah.
And
like looking back on it, like I would just like, I knew what I'd lost too, because I was like, fuck, I was gutted that I'd let it go, and I was gutted that it was my fault too, sort of. Like I'd just like given so many chances, and I would always think like that's gonna be it. I'm always gonna think about it, and even now when I'm back with her, I'm just like, fuck, nearly like I always like so grateful. I'm always like, fuck, I nearly lost her.
Do you tell her that?
Yeah, I always tell her that.
Yeah, and what does she say? Fuck, you're lucky you got back in.
Yeah, nah, yeah. I always cheer her up and say she came back to me after the TV show.
Yeah.
He just wanted me because all the other girls wanted me. Come crawling back. But really, I was the one that went crawling back.
Yeah, but you're like, now I've got something to crawl back with.
Yeah.
It's so funny. You're on the run and you're like, fuck, I got reached out by the TV show and I just thought, fuck, this is going to be the thing that'll get her back.
Yeah. That was it. It was in the back of my head the whole time. I was like, this will get her back.
Yeah. That's so crazy. And yeah, we won't dive into the show. You've spoken about that time and time again.
Yeah.
You said some interesting stuff on the run that I'm just blown away by that people would be itching for, but maybe that's a conversation for another day. You get out of the TV show and you're like, oh shit, I'm making all this money.
Yeah.
You're doing some brand deals.
Yeah.
And then like for a few months and then
bang, dies off.
What happens?
And then I was basically just like, fuck, how do I like keep it going? And that's when I started working on front runner. Me and Bree started talking again. And then...
So did you go to Bree and be like, hey, you were chatting with Bree, like, hey, I've got this idea, front runner.
Oh, bro, over the 7 years that we were together, so I would have had a million ideas that just got started, never start. Like, I'm doing this, bought like a food truck when we were together. And bought it and it was like 20 grand and just never used it. And it sat at that, like my mate's house for like...
What made you want to start all these ideas and do all these things?
Because I always had big plans. I just couldn't do it.
Why did you have big plans?
I just knew that I'd worked a million jobs and I just knew that I cannot be working for someone else.
Yeah, right.
I was the worst worker for like any job I was at. I was probably the worst worker. I just hated everything.
Yeah.
I just hated being told what to do. I just hated how people spoke to me. When I couldn't pick something up, I did feel dumb. Like if I'm in the wrong industry, I was like working on a job site, can't do this, just couldn't comprehend how to do something. I'd feel frustrated and then I would feel like stupid. But I'm like, I just knew I couldn't be working for someone else my whole life. I knew I had to do something.
What about family, parents? Are they supportive?
Good family.
Good family.
Good parents.
Siblings?
Yeah, so supportive. I got one brother, yeah.
One brother?
Yeah.
Younger?
Good relationship, older. 2 years older.
Yeah. And so good family, they were supportive with you?
Yeah, they're so supportive because I've been like that my whole life, even when I was younger. So I was erratic and I was always getting in trouble when I was younger. But my parents, they just gave me unconditional love, which was like something that I'll always like take into how I approach being a dad myself, and that like they couldn't have said anything or done anything to stop me doing exactly what I wanted to do. So like no matter what they did, I was still going to do exactly what I wanted to do. And I would make a lot of mistakes and I always had a house to come home to. And I knew I was a fuckwit and I'd made these mistakes, but I always had I remember the first time I got arrested and I had to go to court and I got my own lawyer and I tried to hide it from my mum and dad because I'd already put them through enough and I'd always be in trouble or doing something wrong. And I tried to hide it from my mum and dad. Anyway, the lawyer's letter went to my house and my dad opened it or whatever. And then one day I came home and my dad's like, "Oh, you going to court?" And I was like, "Fuck, he's going to go off. He's going to be so angry." And then he's like, "Oh, you already know you're a fucking idiot." He's like, "We're just here to help. What are we doing? Like, what's the story? Like, what are we saying?" And there's been heaps of times where I've been in the wrong and my dad's like, "All right, this is what we're doing. Like, this is how we're, like, fuck this." Like, he would always have my back. And my mum was always like, I'd just be constant. I felt like a little fuck up, I was just always making mistakes, but they never ever, and I'd still go to them with these crazy ideas. "Oh, I'm going to do this," and they'd be like, yeah, they would always say like, "You can do it." Like they'd never ever be like, "Oh, that's not going to work," or they're so supportive.
Fuck, that's
no matter
a
what.
rare breed. That's so good, the unconditional love. You mentioned you get arrested the first time. Like, what were things you were doing? Like, what'd you get arrested for?
Oh, I just got arrested for possession of drugs.
Yeah.
Not like, I was like two pingers in the valley. Like, not a big deal, but you still get possession charged.
Yeah.
When I was out on a night out. But when I was younger, I used to shoplift and just heaps of just young.
In Port Douglas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up in Airlie Beach in the Whitsundays.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, that's where I was born.
Yeah, right.
Moved to the Goldie when I was 12, and I remember I left at like a perfect time because when I came back for a visit, like literally 6 months after I'd left, all my friends, because there's nothing to do up there. Like all my friends is like fridging in the car, like just like stealing people's drinks in like the camping places and shoplifting and all the rest of it.
Just like little stuff like that. I was never like a big criminal or anything like that, but I just
push the boundaries a little bit.
I just push the boundaries.
Have you always been into design and fashion?
I was always like the best dressed in my group. Growing up.
Who graded that?
My mum. Yeah. I would always have like shit that was different to all my mates.
Yeah,
I was always dressing like, and grow up in Port Douglas, it's all like, all the adults there just rock like Bundaberg rum shirts and like.
Did they all wear the TNs and stuff back in the day?
Nah. TNs are new for me.
New for you?
Yeah, they're new.
Oh, just a new style.
Yeah, I actually got these in Paris. This is my first pair of TNs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because in Paris, there's no lads wearing TNs. They're
It's
wearing
like
fresh kit plus TNs. A bit like Melbourne, actually. That's how it's worn down there. I don't wear these when I go, like, I'm around the Central Coast because it's a different sort of culture.
Yeah,
you know
they
what I
think
mean?
you're like they think you're a lad.
Yeah, but like the TNs aren't.
They look pretty sick though.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
They're mad.
I reckon it ties in well with the just like the style front runner style, which is cool. And so I want to touch on this design thing. You said I was always the fashioner, the one that looked good.
Yeah.
Like when you're like, okay, I'm starting front runner. I don't know anything about making clothes, but I want to do it. I like fashion. Like where'd you go?
Oh fuck! I just spent nights up until I remember it was like 2-3 a.m. just scrolling online. I didn't even know how to. I actually didn't know how to use a computer. Everything was just done on my phone at the start. I was just like on Alibaba looking for suppliers, talking to suppliers, getting samples. I had one lady who was a graphic designer in Sydney who watched The Bachelor, who I would speak to. I would just get her to make I couldn't even do it. Like the stuff I was getting her to do, I could do in 1 minute now. And when she was doing it for me, I was like, fuck. I thought it was crazy what she was doing. Like she was just like putting front runner like on a shirt. It was wild. And I spent a lot of nights like talking to her, and it was just like a lot of time researching. We were in COVID too, so it was crazy because I lived in a house with like 4 boys, and everyone was partying still, and I'd gone sober, and I'd sit in my room, and my house would be like a full like sesh house, and then I'd be in my room just like had like 2 shirts, 1 hoodie, 1 sample, all samples just sitting there, and I'd just be like, I was just obsessed with it. I was so obsessed, and I would just spend my time just like researching, and then they would have people over, and they would come into my room like, what are you doing? Come party. And I'm like, oh no, I'm doing this business. And they'd just laugh, see my shit samples, and be like, oh yeah. And I just knew that everyone was laughing at me.
But why did like when you're in that period where you're just getting laughed at, like what in your mind is going, nah, this is going to work? How?
I'd never ever thought it wasn't going to work. I don't know how. I was fucking delusional, but
You've got to be.
You got to be a little bit crazy.
No, you have to be crazy enough to think that it's possible.
Yeah,
I just
never ever. It never crossed my mind. Honestly, never crossed my mind. Because I had the vision really clear in my head, and I knew what I wanted wasn't out there. So these like mock neck tees, no one was doing them in Australia. The oversized fit, how I wanted the tee to fit, was exactly how I wanted the tee. Was made perfectly for me. And I just knew I couldn't get them anywhere. I love shopping, spend all my money on clothes. And I was just like, if I like it, like fucking other people are going to like it.
No wonder the shirts are so big. You're fucking 6'4", man.
Like I used to be way bigger too, like, and fashion's changing too. Like people aren't wearing shit as oversized as they were, so just go a couple sizes down. And
we're wearing the front runner stuff. I cropped this one because I thought it looked fucking sick. But
we got crop tees coming.
Yeah, and talk to me about the name front runner. Where did it come from?
I was actually running at the time because I was doing like this running challenge.
Of course you were.
Where I was trying to run like every day consecutively because I was trying to. I'd just like stop partying, and I was trying to get my life in order. And I would run every day because that's where I was getting all the mad ideas when I would run. And just front runner just came to me one day.
And then you just were like...
And I was like, that's a fucking powerful name.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when did it all start booming? Like when did it really start to take off? Because you said to me earlier you're doing some pretty good numbers.
For me, it was booming it's boomed since the first drop to now.
It's all relative.
Yeah, it's always been booming because we've been working shit out the whole time.
So, like, what do you mean by that? Like, it's always been booming. Like, for
Like-
you, you just go, fuck, like, it was a success like, from the start.
We've just been like busy the whole time. We've just been working.
Yeah.
But in the last maybe, so not last Christmas, the Christmas before, our revenue doubled and then doubled again. So we were doing like a certain amount for the whole year, and then it doubled in November. We thought, oh yeah, that's just Christmas. And then it stayed like that and then it doubled in December. And so the business grew twice as big, so 3 times as big in 2 months.
Oh, so November it doubled, then December it doubled again.
It doubled again. And then it just never went back, really. And it just stayed like at that size.
And what do you put that down
And
to?
it's grown since then, but that was a real big jump. What we put that down to in those months was that was the first time ever what we'd been doing. So we'd been selling out our stock, right? So you sell out, it's a mad flex. But when you sell out, you never know how much more shit you can sell because you're like you're capping it. You're putting a roof on your own. You're putting your own ceiling on your own head. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're creating your own ceiling by selling out. It's good for the brand and stuff. And then when we finally just like had enough money to have enough stock where we didn't sell out for a couple months, just like people just kept buying. It was just pumping. And that's when we realized, like, to be able to grow your brand, selling out's mad, but to be able to grow your brand, selling out's just not it.
Do you think the selling out tactic helped grow the brand though? Brand, not revenue, like brand.
Yeah, I think it did because
Like
people
hype exclusivity.
Yeah, people were waiting around for a lot more.
But then also, I guess it comes down to because the product's so good, you don't need to have that sellout tactic.
And it was good, but it was getting to a point where it's like, how many times do you go to a website and it be sold out before you don't go back again? Like, there's going to be a few people that like try and get it, but I just thought about myself. I've never waited around online to buy anything, ever. Probably, and I probably wouldn't. I don't think there's anything that I want that badly. No brand that I love that much. But there's only so many times you go onto a website and it being sold out and you're just like, fuck it, I'm not going back to it.
We have to talk about the collab with Adam and EBT and when you guys, how that all came about and then, how the success went for that.
So I just saw Adam. Adam had like 60,000 followers when I started following him, and he's different to how he was back then. When I started following he used to started following him. He used to speak in like a monotone voice, and that's what I thought was funny about him. He'd be like, and he would never like change face or like, and he would like sit on the toilet and just like talk and get his morning coffee, but he would never like be up and about. He'd be just so monotone, but he'd say heaps of funny shit. And I'm like, fuck, this guy's funny. So I was like, can I send you some clothes? And he said, nah. And he's like, but I like them. I'll buy them. And I was like, we don't really have any stock. Like, you can't buy them. It's just sold out everywhere. And then he's like, no, I'll support you. Don't send me anything, because he had never been sent anything too. It was like he was just new to the game too. Like he didn't really know how to like take any gifting or anything like that.
So he's like, no, I'll buy them.
Yeah, he's like, I'll buy them, I'll support you. Like they look mad. Anyway, so it sort of he went on and tried to buy, and we were always sold out. So he never ended up buying. Anyway, so he started going out with Olivia, and we'd sent Olivia some shirts. And when he got to her house, he saw a front runner shirt in her cupboard and tried it on, and it was an extra small. And he tried it on. He's like, "Fuck, these are mad." and he sent me a photo at her house wearing her shirt. He's like, need more. And I was like, bang, sent him every shirt that we had. We just got a restock of everything. Sent him 30 shirts or something, and he just wore them in every video for the next like 30 videos, a new front runner shirt, and that's when he started pumping too. And he was starting to kick, front runner was starting to kick, and we would talk on the phone like heaps. I'd be like, what's going on? What are you doing this weekend? And we just became mates, and we'd never met. And then he's like, we should do a collab. And I'd been asked by heaps of different like gyms and different brands and stuff like that. Not brands, but like just different gyms and people like, oh, we should do a collab. But I was like, our collab needs to be, the first collab needs to pump, needs to be good. And I was just like, let's just wait. And he's like, let's do a collab. And I actually second guessed it. I was like, fuck, I don't know. Because he wanted to do cunnies. And I was like, I don't know how like on brand cunnies is. And I just thought about it. I was like, fuck. Went back to the team and I was like, what do you reckon? We were all just like, yeah, let's do it. If he doesn't do it with us, he's going to do it with someone else. That's the end of story. And then we met up in Bali. We met in Bali for the first time. We're like, fuck yeah, I'll get the shirts done. They came up nuts. And then we'll meet in Bali and shoot it over there. So we all went to Bali, met first time in Bali, had a mad time. Because I wanted to build a relationship with him too. Because I didn't want to just like, always like, I'm in business with my wife and my best mate. Like I want to do business with people that are like part of my circle. You know what I mean? I didn't want the collab just to be like a transaction. Like I wanted it to be like with my mate. So, and we just had a fucking sick time in Bali and the rest is history.
Yeah, wow. And then you launched because for me, like he was public about some of the numbers and shared it and stuff.
Oh, recently, yeah.
Yeah, recently. And I just looked at it and thought, for me, what tipped it off is I know the difficulty of getting people to show up to a place. And when I saw you do that pop-up in Burleigh and there was so many people there, I was blown away. I was like, this guy's brand is through the roof.
And he only advertised that. We didn't push it.
A couple of days before or whatever.
He advertised it on his stories only. Like no posts about it, no marketing, no fucking anything. Just did a few stories. And then the whole, like hundreds of people rocked up. And then
I thought that was insane. I look at that and I go...
I knew that was going to happen from the collab numbers.
Oh, because you already sold out a collection before?
We sold out a collection. Yeah, that was the second collection that we did.
That was the second collection. Yeah. And then numbers-wise, like what I saw in post, you did like $500,000 in sales in 15 minutes.
Yeah, there's something like that.
Something just crazy.
Something crazy, yeah.
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 How'd you feel about that? You knew it was going to happen, or?
Yeah, I knew it was going to happen, eh?
Again.
Yeah, like I'm buying the stock. So like we're putting projections out there based on this and that.
Right. So you were the one that obviously buying the stocks. You're going, fuck, like we're putting a lot into this. Like it's got to work.
Yeah,
sort of
it has to work.
But I guess you got to gauge on the last numbers.
We got to gauge on the first one, and we realised we just went way too light.
Yeah.
So the first one so what we did with the first one, went quite low, not low. We still just went fucking like normal on numbers. Did a few hundred of each tee and some shorts, and then we're like, fuck, it sold out in like 30 seconds, not even that. And then everyone was so angry. So what we did was we restocked the first drop, and I was like, let's fucking pump it and see how far we can push it. Like how many people will actually buy these, and we got like a couple thousand. And that sold out in a minute too, the restock. And so we were just like, fuck, how big is this? Like, how many people actually want this? And then the next drop, we just went nuts with it. And we saw how many people actually wanted the collab.
It's crazy to see those numbers, and it's super... Like,
I don't think there's anyone else in Australia doing that.
No,
like I don't see any... I always try and think about, find me another... more influential influencer that has that kind of cult following and an engaged audience like that in Australia. I don't think
as well.
I don't think there's one.
And so quickly as well, because like he's obviously been at it for ages, but he only really blew up the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And so to see how quickly his audiences, like in America, right, they make millions and millions of dollars from like their merch and stuff. Like even like my agent in the States, like even when they were going to work on merch for me and stuff, like their whole model is, it's just in the States, it's like it's all print on demand. They've got all these other print on demand companies.
Yeah.
And that's why when I see yours go crazy, I look, okay, well, they've tied in a massive brand, like as in EBT's brand, with really good quality clothing that's already doing well, that has a name for itself.
Yeah.
And then it takes off. It's kind of like a recipe for success.
Yeah, it was. You're right. It was a recipe for success because we were pumping as well at the same time. And the clothes that we made, they were mad. They're not like exactly like
it's not merch.
It's not merch. It's not like a print on demand. Like there's a lot of love in the product.
Yeah, well, you got the embroidery everywhere. Like even the shirt you're wearing now, like that, like what takes to get all that.
It's been a big part of our success. It's just like not printing and just like trying to go the extra mile with everything. And
but I guess the thing with that is starting costs to do that, like because the cogs and like the cost of goods for a shirt that's got all the embroidery everywhere, it's expensive. Like the quality is so high. So to do that, you need the capital to do it. Yeah. Like when you were starting, did you just start small with small batches and then just slowly grow?
Just started small and just incrementally grew.
And you've done this the whole time with your partner?
Yes, my wife.
Your wife.
We got eloped.
You got eloped?
Yeah, we eloped last year. We've been 1 year now.
Married for 1 year.
Married for 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we knew we were having a baby, Bree wanted to have the same name as Harper.
Yeah.
So we just went to the fucking registry with both our mums.
Really?
Saved ourselves $100,000
so you didn't do a wedding
on a wedding.
Yeah.
We'll do a wedding eventually, but I think it's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you've done it with how important of a role is having Bree in the business with you and just doing life with her?
Number one.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to do it without her. Yeah. Her and Jai. Jai is my best mate, who's the other
founder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, because you were saying that you just knew fuck all about it. You're like, P&L? I wasn't going to have a P&L.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know. I still don't really know too much about like the money side of it. I know a lot more than I did.
Yeah. You can look at a bank balance though.
Yeah, I can look at a bank balance.
But
I could tap the card.
Yeah, talk to me about Bree though. I'm really intrigued by that because obviously it's been this journey where you've been together for so long, you run amok, there was different challenges, you then broke up, got back together, started business together straight away.
I'm the big advocate for people that say like, oh, if you break up with someone, you can never get back to them. So many of my mates and like people that I get advice off, like, oh, once you've broken up, it's never the same again. Like, you know how people say that?
Yeah.
Like you can't get back together; it will never be the same. But whenever someone breaks up with their girlfriend or whatever, and they ever ask me for advice, I'm always just like, see how you feel in a couple of months, and it's never like.
See, I don't know how I feel about that, to be completely honest, because I think if that's all it is, and then it's like, I'll see how you feel, of course you're going to fucking miss her.
Yeah.
Like, that's a given.
I don't mean like see how you feel, but I mean like, so like a mate of mine, he's just always like, he's in the same position as me. Like, he's just like, still doing his head over in 2 years. And I want to say to him like, nah, you can't get back with her, but I just know that like
you can.
Yeah.
I think my thought around that though is,
I think some people need to hear that, but
100%. But I think I've got a quote literally that hangs up on the it's in my lounge room by Albert Einstein. Yeah. It's like you can't solve problems with the same thinking you used when you made the problems. Nah. And I think
we spoke about that this morning though on the run. And when I said when I was going back into my relationship, I can't do the same shit that I was doing.
100%. And I think what happens though is people break up and they don't actually analyze what made them break up
Yeah.
and what are the flaws within the relationship. What are the things that are making this not work? And then when you get back going, okay, these are all the things that fucked up. I'm going to make sure that they don't happen again so the relationship doesn't work. It's like if you break up and there's a reason you break up, you then leave, you miss them, you guys love each other and you miss them. So like, oh, fuck, we should get back together.
Yeah.
You get this new little honeymoon period, but the same problems are still there.
Yeah.
And then they break up again and it's inevitable.
Yeah.
And that's probably what happened when you had these cycles where you broke up and got back together, broke up, got back together.
Yeah.
You kind of need to be aware of what are the problems and get really clear on them. And then when you get back together, go, as a couple, go, okay, these are the things that fucked up.
That's basically what we did when we got back together. I was like, this is why it didn't work last time.
And from that, though, did you guys, as soon as you got back together, you were like, all right, this is working. We're in this together. Let's do this?
Like it's been smooth sailing. Ever since I stopped drinking and taking drugs, everything's just better. I've never had any issues.
Yeah.
Like, we have a perfect life now.
Perfect life.
Yeah, we do.
Do you think there's anything in that life do you think there's anything lacking right now in your life? Nah.
No.
And you've recently had Harper, a beautiful little girl.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the impact that has made on you, and yeah, let's chat about baby Harper.
It's a lot of learning too. A lot of learning. It was a hard 8 months. Like, it's been hard for Bree, a lot harder for Bree than it has been for me. But again, I think we got a good baby too. Like, she doesn't really cry. She didn't sleep very well, but that was the only downside. Like, I can't say that she's fucking healthy. Like, what more can you ask for, really? But one of the things that I really struggle with at the moment is trying to find a balance between my training, because I love to train, my family and my work. I'm still working that out. Like, ever since the family's really been a big priority, I've been struggling to switch off from work, and when I get home and
you're in business with your partner too.
Yeah, I'm in business with my wife, so I'm always thinking about it. But I'm starting to get a little bit of a hold on it now.
You think that plays that's it kind of affects it makes it extremely challenging because you've got three, it's one of those things where you have your health, your relationships, and your business.
Yeah,
they're kind of like the three pillars of life, really.
Yeah, I think I just need to remember, or just remind myself that I need to attack each one with the same energy. But also recognize I'm so keen to go to the gym. If I am not coming in the door with the same energy as I had going to the gym when I've had a pre-workout, if I'm not coming in the door to my daughter with that same energy, then I'm not doing it good enough. So that was one of the things I was always had to remind myself. Like, I was getting home, I would have so much on my plate from work, and I'd be stressing, and sometimes I'd walk in the door and I'd still have that, and I'd now sit in the car for a couple of minutes, take a deep breath, and hype myself to go in the door with the same energy. And I just know my daughter doesn't give a fuck what is happening at work. She couldn't give a fuck if I had a hard day. She just wants her dad to be there.
Has she changed your outlook on life at all?
She definitely makes me think a lot more about she hasn't changed my outlook on life, I don't think.
She hasn't?
No.
Do you think that there's are you doing things for a different reason because of her now, or has it all been the same?
I think she's definitely, I always think about her. I get more anxious now about losing everything because I have her. I know I say I wouldn't give a fuck if I lost it all because I could start again, but now I'm just it can never fail.
So maybe having something like Harper in your life kind of makes you not want to go through that shit. Like the self-sabotage is going to be out.
Could never do that.
Because you're if I'm self-sabotaging, I'm sabotaging her as well.
Yeah. No, that's long gone, that self-sabotage.
Yeah. You got more you hold yourself to a higher value. You've
Oh,
got
yeah.
more meaning and more
For sure.
worth in your life.
100%. There's way better things to be doing than ruining your life.
Do you ever think about like how old's Harper now?
9 months.
9 months.
Yeah.
Has that gone quick?
Oh, yeah.
Do you ever think about like not spending enough time with her as she grows up?
Oh, yeah. All the time. That's like one of the main things. I feel guilty going to work. Feel so guilty going to work.
Then what makes you want to go to work?
I have to go to work.
Yeah.
Got to get it done.
Got to get it done.
Got to, like, you have to.
So do you think the main thing for that then is like how important having that couple of minutes in the car, just taking a few breaths and going, okay, I'm going to give it all my energy when I come back in, even if you're wrecked and it's like something that you...
Oh, it's huge for me to take those couple of minutes and just always remind myself. Yeah.
What about Brie?
But
like,
also the other thing is like I also am so grateful for the life that we have. Like there's other families doing it. Like I can't imagine even getting up at like 5 a.m. and then getting home at 7 p.m. like I used to when I'm on the tools. Like we have a life that we can give Harper the best life, and we can have heaps of time with her. We dictate our time. Like it doesn't get much better.
Do you think it's being in business with your wife is
The best.
the best?
The best.
Why is that?
It's just the best. We share the highs, we share the lows. I couldn't imagine doing it without her.
Do you feel like it's hard to have personal life? Like, do you feel like it's hard to have?
We did struggle with that for a little bit, and we still do sometimes. But I think we've worked it out a lot more, and especially now that we're building out the team to be a lot bigger, and there's people in positions that we're not doing it all anymore. Before it was just chaos when it was just me and her just doing it all.
Yeah, okay. And then you kind of get to this stage where you go, no, we're in this together. It's a dream team.
Yep.
Work, life, balance isn't really a thing because work is our life and we can share that as well and work together.
Yep. Yeah, it is. Like everything that we do has front runner in it, basically. And we don't really have too much of a social life. Where we live on the Central Coast, we don't really have many friends. And we've spoken about it a lot that for the next 5 years we're sort of just we're happy to not have any like friends and just not really be social. We travel a lot for work. Like we come up here. If we want to see our friends, we just go to Melbourne or go wherever. But we're not just like, you won't catch us on a weekend just like socialising.
Is that by design? Do you want that? Or would you want to have more social?
We sort of like it, hey. I don't mind it. It's just like me, her, and baby. My parents are there. That's good. We moved there because my parents are there. We're close to my family, so it's just really family.
And do you feel like it's because for me, I
socialised the last 10 years, bro. I've done enough socialising fucking forever. And I just realised a lot of it's just empty socialising. If I had a mad relationship, I'm open. You only need like one or two good people.
Yeah.
You just need one good mate, eh? That's all you need.
Fuck. That's so true, hey.
Fuck, you don't need a heap of people. You need one good cunt that
noisy.
you can train with and just
fucking get it done.
Yeah.
Just like get in there, grit, share everything with highs, lows, relatabilities. It's like those fucking videos where you got like there's just the like training complex or like just like some Rocky scene where it's just like him and a mate or something like that.
You just need one. Everyone just needs one mate.
I reckon a couple of mates, but I think you always have this one that's 10x above everyone else.
Yeah, I don't have no friends on the coast. Like I have like people that I train with, and like I've got mates, but like
you'd rather spend it with your family.
Yeah, I'm working fucking flat out. Any spare time I get, family. That's basically how it works.
I think that's a good space to be in.
It's not going to be like that forever though. Like, we know that we're just sacrificing now to gain back our time later, and we're starting to get more time back now already.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely one of those things where it's resisting short-term pleasures in favor of something greater. It's just doing something with a purpose behind it and a reason why you're doing it. As opposed to just fluffing around, as you said, like surface level conversation and just hanging out with mates on the piss. It's like, it's not really mates. It's like you're probably not remembering half the shit you're talking about. Like it doesn't have as much substance.
No.
Yeah, it's no good. And the last thing I want to talk to you about, man, this one's a serious one.
All right, I'm ready.
What is it about vanilla slices?
Oh, I actually took that off my page, but heaps of people getting in the front runner DM sending vanilla slices and saying we know Timbo slices MIA, but here's people send me anytime they ever have vanilla slice, they send it to me.
Dude, I look at the it was a while back. I remember seeing you few years ago, whatever. Fucking talking about vanilla slices, and you had this passion about you just light up about vanilla slices.
Yeah, I was getting right into it. I've tried them all, but I gave up on them. It was good while it lasted. I still love one. I still love a vanilla slice. Just guilty pleasure.
It's so funny. I was like, something serious, man. You were like, fuck, here we go. What are you going to deep dive into talk about vanilla slices? Now, man, is there anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up? Is there anything you've been thinking about, something exciting you're working on, or?
No, I just feel like there's probably heaps, but I can't remember.
There's probably heaps of stuff. I really appreciate you, and I think people are going to love this chat. People are going to love just like hearing your story. I feel like there's polished business people, and there's people that just seem to have it all figure it out. You build the plane on the way down. It's fucking cool to see.
Yeah, that's a good way of describing it, building the plane on the way down. I've got good people around me, but I've got good people around me.
Do you feel like they like you keep going back to like couldn't do it without Bree and without people. You need this team.
You do.
Yeah, I think you really do. 100%, man.
You do. Everyone. There's nothing. Like, who's doing shit by himself? Like, nothing good.
And what good is doing it by, like, there's no fun in that. Sharing the highs and lows with.
If you want to go fast,
go alone. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far,
go together.
There's that one. And then the other quote you said just before was, imagine. Oh no, you said.
Oh, you can fail at doing something that you hate.
We didn't talk about that. You can fail doing something that you hate.
Yeah, because I would get fired from job. I would be shit at these jobs that I was hating. I'm like, I'm fucking failing at this. Like, why wouldn't I not try doing something I love?
Yeah.
Because people's biggest roadblock to doing what they love is just fear of failure. Yeah.
Imagine that thought though, like failing at something that you hate.
Yeah, that's scary, eh?
That's fucking scary.
Yeah.
Like imagine doing something that you fucking hate.
Yeah, like
and then failing at it.
Bro, I've done it.
Yeah. But people live their life like that.
Yeah.
That's the most ridiculous thing. And I reckon the schooling system and there's certain systems now that's like the traditional way of living life kind of manufactures that life for you. Yeah. Doing shit that you hate and failing at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes the failures not worth it. It's like the failures when you're doing something that you really enjoy are worth it because it's what makes the highs high.
There are lessons too. When you fail and doing something you hate, you don't even get a mad lesson from it.
Yeah. It's just shit.
It just sucks.
It just sucks. Thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I'm going to put all of your details in the show notes in the description below so you can check it out. If you want to check out Frontrunner, they got the coolest clothing ever. It's fucking so sick. Tim actually, it's so funny. He was like, mate, I want to send you some shirts. And I was like, yeah, okay, send me shirts. Like brands send shit all the time. Anyway, this huge fucking box rocks up. Actually, it was like, you were like, did your shirts come? And I was like, nah.
Oh yeah.
And then they're at the post office and I went, this massive box. just like fucking 15 shirts. What am I going to do with all these shirts? Next minute I wear one. I'm like, this thing's awesome. Now I've chucked everything else out. My whole wardrobe's just front runner.
So good.
So, yeah, he's got some really cool stuff. You can definitely check it out. The brand's awesome. They're doing some awesome stuff, and appreciate you sharing the story.
Thanks.
And I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. And if you guys have stuck around, make sure you leave us a review on Spotify or Apple, wherever you're listening to this, and drop us a follow. It would mean the world. It helps the show grow. It helps us get guests just like Tim back on the show. But without further ado, we're signing out, and I'll see you guys next week.